All right, so I just want to talk about these features real quick, and I'm just going to go in order of when they were built. So first and foremost, this quarter pipe right here, this guy, was the first piece. I poured that solo. He's 4 foot wide, 2 foot tall, with super shitty loaf pour in place coping. But I love it. You can bash through it. It feels great. The second pour was this middle quarter pipe, along with, you can see how it separates at the crack right there, along with the coping going all the way over the first quarter pipe, which makes that a good, kinkless grind surface that's still uneven and kind of chunky feeling and weird when you grind it. So it makes it fun. That's an excuse for just saying I didn't know how to do it well. This side was the last pour, and it's funny because it's the worst. You think after 2 pours I would have gotten better at it, but it's pretty bad. It's really grippy and whatever. I don't know. It doesn't skate bad. It seems fine. The coping is rougher over here, and I think this was all water when I thought it was smooth, and then it dried away and it looked like shit. Beginner mistake. But that got the first quarter pipe done. And it's fun. It's low, it's mellow, it's wide. You can really just play around on it. The only thing that sucks is the lack of deck. The top is just wide enough, you can get up and you can ride on it and kind of do some things, but your toes will hit the fence if you're not careful. It's a little bit weird to be that close to the fence, but it's skatable. It's fun. I'd give it more deck if I did it again. Next built was the front part of this boob. I had a chunk of concrete from where there used to be a basketball hoop here that I dug out of the ground. It was like a pipe that you put the basketball hoop hole into with 3 bags of concrete attached to it. And so I just put that right here. And then I concreted over it with a little bit of chicken wire for rebar, or welded wire fencing, I should say. And the initial pour was just this front piece that you can see. And it just wasn't wide enough. It was fun. You could play around on it, but it just wasn't wide enough. So I added this, and that made all the difference in the world. It's plenty wide how it is. I mean, you could still use more width, and I planned at some point to add more width, but that's not going to happen by me now, at least. And then the last and final pour was the other 3 features. I got a truck, so I got 2 yards, and that's how much concrete I had. That's why those other features are kind of weird. I didn't plan on them. But this is an almost 3 foot quarter pipe. It's 2 foot 10. And yeah, I just did cinder block wall, and I did cinder block wall long before I ever poured the quarter pipe because I just didn't have money. And so the wall sat for 7 months and kind of got a little screwed up. That gap wasn't there when I first did it, but it's fine. It works great. And so you can see some of the welded wire coming through that I used for the rebar in this. And it's just filled with dirt in the middle, and the cinder block walls are holding the dirt in and poured over and smoothed. It's just noping. I wanted to make my own pool coping blocks and put pool coping on top of this. And that would have made it a little bit over 3 feet to the top of the deck. But, it's not perfect. I don't know if you can tell on video, but I did it all by myself, no help. And I kind of ran out of time on the finishing part. Luckily it rained that day, so it bought me some time, but this was really dry concrete when they brought it to me. So the rain actually helped me, but it's all right. You don't really feel any of the weirdness in the transition. And then I had a bunch of extra concrete. These were just supposed to be flat pieces on the ground that gave you extra approach for the boob. But I had so much concrete that I started building it up into like little curb things, little like ride on grind curbs. And these things are just a blast. It's just like weird DIY shit that you'd find out in the streets or something. And just dicking around. You could be, you know, not feeling like skating, and in 2 minutes playing on this, you know, you're totally ready to skate. This one's fun and it's bigger. It's a little scarier, and some people have eaten it pretty hard on this thing. Just because it's dumb, I think. And so it goes against your natural instinct of skateboarding, you know, because you kind of have a built-in logic, and this thing just doesn't have logic to it. It's a tight little corner pocket that you can skate through. But if you come at kind of hot, you'll wind up grinding the top and going right into the edge of that quarter pipe and just getting sent. Sometimes you can bash through it and it works. It just depends how you're weighted, I guess. But yeah, and I just did these guys on top of railroad ties. We had them. They were free off Facebook Marketplace, and so we picked those up, and they just wound up working. I initially had the railroad ties on the side of the driveway, so if I was skating, my board wouldn't go in the dirt. And here's a parking curb I sometimes put out in the middle. I broke my thumb on that parking curb last winter, and so it's not my favorite thing anymore. Which is funny. I'll still skate other parking curbs, but this one got me. So, well, that's pretty much it. That is the gist of my little DIY. I'd say overall cost, this quarter pipe was probably about $700-800 all said and done. But I didn't I could have gone like less on concrete. I just bought a bunch of concrete bags each time I did it, and I don't know, my fill wasn't great. So these are pretty thick and heavy and solid, where they don't really need to be. So you probably could do that cheaper. But that's the price for like cinder blocks, the welded wire, rebar stuff, the bricks that I use down in there to kind of like shore stuff up, and like you'll see they fit well on the side. But yeah, like random bricks like right there and right there. But yeah, some of these spots, you know, they have pretty thick concrete. It doesn't look that thick from the sides because I have the blocks here, but towards the middle, it's really solid. And you can kind of tell when you skate it, it just feels super solid. And then I'd say probably about the same thing. It's cheaper to get a truck. And so I saved money on these 2 yards. I think it cost me about $700 to do that quarter pipe and those 2 extra pieces that was just leftover concrete out of the 2 yards. This boob was free because I had leftover welding wire from the first quarter pipe, and the concrete was given to us by friend of my ex-wife's. So I just had to go pick it all up out of his garage, and that was all the concrete I needed to do this. So that was cool. So I probably only have like, I'd say maybe $1,500, I guess, round up a little bit, into the back of the yard. And it's really fun to skate for $1,500. You know, that's a lot of value if you're building yourself. So I highly recommend just trying to build some stuff yourself. And then there'll be more skate spots for everybody. Well, anyways, thanks for watching. Never get a kickflip.